All right, we are golden.
All right, fantastic. Welcome to today's Q&A. We've got a lot of questions that we're going to try and cover on hyperpigmentation. And hopefully if you need to get on and add any questions, please do that in our chat. And we are so excited to bring you this information because everyone, it seems, has hyperpigmentation at some point in their lives. You can't get away from it because it's triggered by the sun primarily, or from your hormones. And we know that everyone's hormones at some point in their life end up getting an imbalance. So you're going to see hyperpigmentation in your treatment rooms. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Tracey Kimball. I work for GlyMed Plus as a national educator, and I am also a licensed esthetician. And I have my fabulous boss with me, Sarah.
Hey everyone. My name is Sarah Robbins. I'm the Director of Education here at GlyMed Plus, and I'm also a licensed master esthetician in the state of Utah. And today we are excited to be answering all of your really great questions on hyperpigmentation. Before we even begin, I want to say that if there was going to be a skin condition come through our doors and into our services, I love when it is hyperpigmentation because it actually is created in the epidermis, which is what we as estheticians get to work within. So that's within our scope of practice, so we can directly help this skin condition. Not to say that I hope everyone gets melasma, but it is one that gets me excited because there's a lot that we can actually do to help improve this skin condition.
You're so right. And I love that about it too. It's just a fantastic to get your hands on someone that has hyperpigmentation and see the changes in their skin. So amazing. Love it.
Right? It's like, I love doing extractions too on acne clients, but I also get that same butterflies in my stomach when I have a hyperpigmentation client. So, you know.
I agree.
We do have some questions to go through that we got over the weekend, but if you have additional questions that we don't cover, like Tracey said, please put them in the chat. We also have Corinne Young on for a little bit today, and so she can also help to manage some of the questions in there, and we will try and do a recap and make sure that they all get answered if possible. So,
all right, I'll start. Should you heal acne before trying to eliminate pigmentation? Great question. I love that. Actually, you can do both at the same time. By treating the acne, you're actually helping to eliminate some potential hyperpigmentation. And that type of pigmentation that comes from acne lesions is called PIH, or post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So that's a great question. You want to do both of them at the same time. Now you can use things like AHAs and also TCAs, and they will both be beneficial for lifting that pigmentation, but also to help reduce some of the main contributors to acne, things like excess skin or bacteria. Even it can help with some of the oil issues that you have. So yes, great question. I would recommend that you heal both at the same time.
Right, and PIH is inflammation, is pigmentation that's from inflammation. So as long as you're helping to reduce that inflammation for the acne lesion, you're also helping to reduce that hyperpigmentation from forming and helping to lightening at the same time. And Tracey said those two chemical pills are great, or two ingredients, but you'll also need to make sure that your client's using a tyrosinase inhibitor. And we'll talk more about those in just a little bit because we have questions specifically on them.
Great. Okay, so the best products for melasma.
That is a really great question. So melasma is tricky because it's usually brought on by your hormones. And your hormones, many different things can throw them out of whack or influence them. And so the biggest thing is making sure that your hormones are in balance. And so I love telling my clients to make sure that they go and see a DO or a doctor that specifically is going to help with that hormone imbalance to try and get that under control so that we can keep that pigmentation at bay. But most important for anyone that has melasma for skincare products, tyrosinase inhibitors for sure, and I would look for your stronger ones. So hydroquinone is a really great option. If your client doesn't like hydroquinone, there are other alternatives. Like our Diamond Bright has an alternative that is very similar to hydroquinone, but it's not hydroquinone. It's just similar in the way that it actually helps to lighten the skin. And then I always make sure my melasma clients are using a retinol and then SPF. So they need a strong tyrosinase inhibitor, retinol, and then SPF is going to be the biggest factors in helping to lift that pigment and also to inhibit that overproduction.
Great. Okay, the next is home care treatment for sensitive skin with pigmentation. And what a great thing to think about, because we do always are going to see people that are very sensitive to products. In this case, I would use something like your tyrosinase inhibitor. Something like Living Cell would be fantastic. It is one of our least aggressive tyrosinase inhibitors, but it's also packed with lots of nutrients and great things for sensitive skin specifically. Then I would also look at some of the lower peels, that don't have quite as much activity to them. I would start probably with something like our Intense antioxidant professional peel. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay, so I would look at that. I would start there, see how they react. If they are great and they respond to it well, you can move them up to a little bit more aggressive peel for that pigmentation. And hopefully you can actually condition that skin and get it to a healthy state where it's actually able to receive a pill that's a little bit more aggressive and will help lift some of that pigmentation. And it's also kind of interesting. Sometimes people with sensitive skin do get that pigmentation, but realize what kind of pigmentation it is, because certain pigmentation will be deeper than others.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's important to also, tyrosinase inhibitors you're going to hear us say that a million times today, but also for someone that has sensitive skin, I love recommending the fulvic elixir, the skin restoring fulvic elixir, because it has fulvic acid, which is more of an electrolyte than an actual acid. So it's very gentle, but actually helps to deliver nutrients and vitamins to the skin. It helps with any redness in the skin. And then it's also going to help reduce any of that inflammation. So if someone is very sensitive, fulvic elixir and the cell protection serum are my go-to for those clients, because those are really going to help repair their barrier and get their skin in a healthier state.
Great, fantastic. Okay, the next question is, treating PIH, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, while having rosacea.
Yes. So this can be very tricky, because when you have rosacea, you have a lot of vascular damage, which is that red hue or red undertone. So you have a lot of distended capillaries, or you have a lot of redness in the skin. And so this can look like PIH, but a lot of it is going to be vascular damage. Okay? And it's because of those distended capillaries in the skin. So of course you can still use a tyrosinase inhibitor, because that is going to help with any pigmentation that might be present. But then you also want to do things to help to strengthen those capillary walls and also reduce that inflammation that's causing the vascular damage. So there's a few ways that you can go about this. You can, if it is rosacea, you can use things like AHAs, glycolic, lactic, and malic are awesome ingredients, because they're going to help with reducing the bacteria and lipase that the Demodex is creating, which is actually triggering the inflammation. And then also those AHAs above a 5 become natural tyrosinase inhibitors. So you're also helping to lighten any pigment while you're doing that. But then you also want to make sure you're using repairing ingredients. So Living Cell or the Skin Brightener are really great options for someone with rosacea. In fact, Skin Brightener is probably my favorite for rosacea, because it also has 5% glycolic acid in there. So you're kind of like hitting two birds with one stone. And then using things like the oxygen products, because they're going to help strengthen those capillary walls. They promote that wound healing. And then rosacea relief and fulvic are going to be awesome options for those clients, because you're going to help with that vascular damage. And if it is pigmentation, you'll help correct that at the same time.
Fantastic. Okay, what are the best peels for darker skinned clients? Okay, I love this question because we see people of all colors in our practices. And if you missed our webinar yesterday, we went over this, so go ahead and check it out still. But it's a fantastic question because really, I don't know if people realize this sometimes, but AHAs and TCAs are colorblind. So you can actually treat those deeper, darker Fitzpatricks with AHAs and TCAs. Now you would still want to watch the skin, make sure that you're properly applying these chemical peels, but those are two of the fantastic ones. And like Sarah was saying, anything above a 5% AHA, it turns into a natural tyrosinase inhibitor, which turns into a fantastic natural way to start treating some of these conditions.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see here. Can any lightening agents cause hypopigmentation on darker Fitzpatricks, and what to avoid?
So this is a great question. Most lightening products aren't actually going to create hypopigmentation. However, hydroquinone used on a deeper fits, if they're on it for more than 3 months at a time, it can really suppress that melanin production so that it's really starts to lighten the actual tone of the skin, but it's not going to create hypopigmentation. In order for hypopigmentation to happen, there has to be some sort of trauma done to the skin or on the immune system itself. So it's not going to create hypopigmentation, but if they're using, like, let's say a 4% hydroquinone cream and they're using it for more than 3 months at a time, and when I say that, they're using it at nighttime only, they can use it for 3 months or until they finish that bottle, and then they should go on another tyrosinase inhibitor just to help protect the skin, but isn't going to be necessarily as strong of a lightener. So they should be, I would say, rotating every 3 months. So 3 months on and then 3 months off. And it's because it will suppress that melanin so much that it lightens the skin, but it's not permanent and it's not damaging at all.
Fantastic. Okay, the next one. Can you really undo years of sun damage? What a great question. The fact remains is that it took you years to get this sun damage, and you're not going to be able to get rid of it overnight. It's going to take some process with treatments, and then also with home care products. I can't recommend or stress enough that you recommend to your clients how important the products that you are selling to them will help with their treatments that they're getting in your clinic. So anytime you've got someone with these melanocytes that are damaged and producing this pigmentation, they will remain damaged. You can't repair melanocytes. However, you can use things that slow down the production of that melanin. That would be a tyrosinase inhibitor. So tyrosinase inhibitors are a fantastic way to help prevent that sun damage for continuing to come through, but also prevention is key. Sarah and I have said this over and over, but our favorite product for any of our clients is SPF. That sun protection factor is going to do more for their skin than any other product that they use. So another point to this is that 80% of their treatment is going to be done at home. So they have to commit to getting rid of this damage and doing their part. You can't just do it all in your treatment rooms. They've got to commit to the products that they're using at home to continue to see that healthy skin regenerating.
Tracy's right. It takes commitment, something that I have found works best for me when I'm talking to my clients, because my clients will ask me, you know, do you really think that these products are going to help with my hyperpigmentation or my aging skin? And I say, yes, I know that they're going to help them with your skin. And the way that I like to explain it to my client, I always use exercising, because I feel like it's just the easiest way for them to understand. But let's say that you've gone, you know, 35 years, haven't exercised, and then you start exercising, you absolutely can build that muscle up, right? You can strengthen that muscle. It's going to take some time, and you're going to have to adjust your life. Like, you're going to need to change your diet, take supplements, but it is doable. Now, is it going to happen as fast as if you were 20 and doing the same like workout routine? No, it's going to take longer, but you can still get to that same endpoint. So absolutely, you can help the skin even if it's been a long time.
Great. Okay, what's the best thing to use on hyperpigmentation and melasma on ethnic skin, those darker Fitzpatrick's?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think, especially with the question we got earlier with hydroquinone, or if there are lighteners that create hypopigmentation, I think a lot of estheticians are afraid to have their deeper fits on tyrosinase inhibitors for that reason. But in fact, our deeper Fitzpatrick's, and I mean a Fitz 4 through 6, should be on a stronger tyrosinase inhibitor. They don't necessarily need to be on hydroquinone, but since they are making more melanin, they're at the greater risk of having that hyperpigmentation. So the Skin Brightener is a fantastic product for them to be on, or the Diamond Bright. Both of those are going to be really good for that more stubborn, deeper pigmentation, such as melasma. And that's good for all Fitzpatrick's, but especially your deeper fits. And personally, I really like using retinol with my tyrosinase inhibitors, because it allows us to get that pigment out of the skin faster that's already been created. And then it also helps that tyrosinase inhibitor work even better, because retinol is like a drill sergeant. It's making sure all the cells are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's really beneficial for helping to care for that melasma right away. So, and then of course, SPF. Everyone needs to be on a SPF and making sure that they're using it every single day.
Okay. The next question is best product for pigmentation on the back from acne scars. Okay, you are going to treat this skin the same way that you would treat your face. It's still skin. It still has the same conditions, same properties to it. So treat it the same way. Remember that pigmentation from acne scars is more superficial. So using some of those more superficial peels will help with that. I personally love to rotate between an AHA and a TCA and back and forth. Now there are things that benefits that you're going to get from both of them. And that's why with any chemical peel sessions or plan that you have for your clients, make sure you rotate between the two so that you get the benefits of those AHAs. AHAs are fantastic for helping to provide moisture into the skin, helping to, with any of the aging that might be going on with the skin, any of those types of things. And then making sure that they can also use a tyrosinase inhibitor and SPF on their back. You can use them, a tyrosinase inhibitor, wherever. It doesn't have to just be for the face.
Yeah, absolutely. And even our body products are awesome, like the Alpha Therapeutic Hand and Body Lotion. That's a great one for the body, because again, it has those AHAs in there, and they're above a 10%. So they're going to also help to correct that pigmentation that's in the skin as well.
Okay. I have a 15-step 99% GlyMed. Is this too much?
First of all, I want to know why it's not 100%. 1% slide. But no, I mean, you do you, girl. I fully support you in that.
I agree. I think that sometimes people feel like there might be too much going on. The only time I see personally that I've got too many products on is when I rub my face and it actually balls up. So making sure that whatever you're putting on is actually penetrating into the skin. If you get too much on there, it might not penetrate as well. So making sure that you're always on a tyrosinase inhibitor, you have a great moisturizer, you've got your serums for anti-aging, and then last, your SPF.
Yeah, you know, the beauty about GlyMed is that you really, it's up to you what you want to do with your services, what you want to recommend to your clients, and then even for yourself. You can make GlyMed as simple or as complex. And, you know, I'm a big believer that you should be rotating different products in your regimen based on the season, the time of year, and even like during different life events. You know, there's times where we go through grief and it's like, that's going to take a toll on the skin. And so, you know, just always changing up your routine to fit what your skin needs at that time. So I think it's great to have product for any occasion or any situation that life throws at you. So.
Great. Okay, I'm just looking through these. Sarah, do you have a whitening protocol that can work for melasma? Did we already go through that one? Skin type 4?
We do have protocols for melasma. I know we gave recommendations, but we do have protocols and we do have regimens. So you can ask your account managers or you can see if they're on the website. Not all of our protocols and regimens are on there. So if you don't see something that you need, ask your account manager and they'll make sure to get it for you.
Okay. Let's see. What are the best peels for darker skin clients? We kind of went over this a little bit, but just to repeat, AHAs and TCAs are color blind, so they are fantastic for your deeper, darker Fitzpatricks. Why does pigmentation or brown spots show up after 40?
Isn't that the worst?
It's kind of like an insult to injury already, right?
Yeah. So one of the biggest reasons that you start to see that pigmentation show up later in life is because all of our cells function starts to slow down. And so you're not shedding off as much dead skin cells as you used to. And so you have more of that coagulation of pigment showing up. And then also that melanocyte has been exposed to a lot of UV damage over the years, right? So now it's creating more melanin. And so you're getting more of that misfire or excess pigmentation that's coming to the surface now. And so it's so important that we keep the skin active by using active home care products and then also in their treatments as well. But that's generally why you start to see it more after the age of 40.
You can see it in younger years too, just depending on your skin type. I mean, a Fitzpatrick one is certainly going to get more damage from UV rays than a Fitzpatrick 6 will. So not to say that a 6 can't, but it is a little bit differently. So I like that. Okay, the best ways to address hormonal induced pigmentation. So we've talked about this a little bit. Just to stress what Sarah said already, before you can really get any pigmentation under control for your clients that are dealing with hormonal issues, you need to make sure that they are seeing a doctor. You cannot diagnose them with, you probably are going through perimenopause, or, you know, that's strictly from, you know, a medication issue. Those are things that we can't say to our clients, but we can encourage them to seek out additional help as you are going through your treatments with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm using 5-berry, but after doing 5 or 6 layers, I'm not peeling anymore. Do I have to switch?
Well, there's a lot of questions I want to follow up with this question. Is first of all, how often are you doing these 5 to 6 layers of 5-berry? So that could be a reason why you're not peeling as much, is if you're doing it more consistently, you're turning over the skin at a rate where you're not going to get as much flaking or peeling because the skin doesn't need it. And oftentimes, I know estheticians can get upset, or they think that they've done something wrong or something's wrong with their chemical peel if their client didn't shed a ton or didn't get a lot of that desquamation. And really, it's still beneficial for the skin, but not everyone needs to have that much cellular turnover. We all have different cell cycles, and some of us are really good skin shedders and some of us are not. So it really just depends on your client. And then my next question is, are you making sure to wait the 3 to 4 minutes in between each of those layers, making sure that it really does self-neutralize before you go on with another layer? And then if so, and you still want more shedding of the skin, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to help with fine lines and wrinkles? Are you trying to lift pigmentation? Because all of that will depend on what you do next, depending on what you want the outcome to be. So it's kind of a trickier question just because we need more information. But just to simplify, if you're worried about pigmentation, I would go to a TCA 15. If you're worried about more like fine lines and wrinkles, I would go with the vitamin A pill or the lactic 30.
Okay. Next question was, how many treatments should a lightening goal typically take? And you know, that's one of those questions that's really hard to give a definitive answer for. And I know your clients don't want to hear that necessarily, but you will see significant lightening within 30 days of using our products. I also would tell them that each person is different. Their hyperpigmentation is different. So there really is not a one answer that is going to give them what they want. Usually they come in, they want a quick fix on their hyperpigmentation and be out the door and never come back, right? Well, that's not the case. That's not how hyperpigmentation works. That's not how skincare routines and regimens and treatments work. They take time because it was a lot of time that they've built up over the years. So make sure that you let them know that they can see significant changes, but really there is no definitive answer.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say that you can tell your clients that they're going to see a difference in their skin within two to 4 weeks. That is a reasonable answer for you to give to your client, that we're going to start to see changes in the skin within 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay, let's see. Treating PIH while having some active acne treating PIH while having some active acne in higher Fitzpatrick's like a 4.
So when you're caring for acne, especially your deeper Fitzpatrick's, I know that we've been taught as estheticians that you need to be careful with salicylic acid with your deeper Fitzpatrick's, and it's true, you absolutely do need to be careful with salicylic acid. And so it depends on the grade of acne. Did they say which grade, Tracey?
4.
Grade 4 acne?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that is actually a really good point. So if you have a grade 3 or grade 4 and you're working with someone that's a deeper fits, you want to look for anti-inflammatory ingredients. And so we especially like to use things like benzoyl peroxide, which you can use on a Fits 4, or even oxygen-based products. These are going to help to oxygenate that pore and help to kill that bacteria that's forming in the hair follicle. And then even using things like retinol, which is safe for all Fitzpatrick's as well, is a really good option for someone with that more aggressive acne grade. And then of course, you want to make sure you're using tyrosinase inhibitors to help with that pigment, and then also making sure they're using an SPF, especially where we're using active ingredients.
Good point. Okay. I'm not really sure on this one. I'm going to let you answer it. What would you recommend for hypopigmentation post-laser burn?
That's a really great question. Unfortunately, if it is hypopigmentation, there's nothing that we can do, and there's no product that's going to help with this. What happens when hypopigmentation occurs, it's because the melanocytes have been damaged. And in this instance, it's because of that laser treatment. Either that client wasn't prepped, or the technician or esthetician who was doing the treatment didn't do it correctly and wasn't being careful or cautious. And again, it would depend on the Fitzpatrick type that they were doing this laser treatment on. But unfortunately, when hypopigmentation happens, it's because the melanocyte is damaged. and either that melanocyte dies and is no longer creating pigment, and that's why you have that white spot, is because no more pigment is being created because that melanocyte is damaged or has died. So there's nothing you can do to bring that melanocyte back to life or help it to create pigment again. So there are other options. Things like sunless tanner is a fantastic option for clients if they want to help to just even that skin tone. I personally have vitiligo, so this is something that I struggle with every day. I have tons of white patches all over my body. And so I use sunless tanner, and that just helps give me an even skin tone, helps to make everything blend. You can also, if it's just like, it depends on the spot and size, but I do know that I've had clients who got hypopigmentation from another esthetician or another service, and they actually went and got a tattoo with a similar pigment to their skin color over it. So unfortunately, there's no product that's going to help bring it back to life or help make pigment again, but there are other things you can do to kind of help conceal it.
Okay, here's one that's interesting. Tummy tuck or breast lift scars, what would you recommend? Well, I love this because I recently went through a surgery on my neck. It was the second one that I've had, and I tend to keloid scar. And so I was thinking, great, this is going to be awful. I'm going to have this big ropey scar on my neck, you know, and I'll have to get laser treatments and injections and everything. Well, I actually use the Daily Repair, which has onion bulb in it. And that Daily Repair quickly took care of my scar. It did not keloid, it didn't get ropey, anything like that. So I love that for scarring, especially for scarring. Are there any other products you'd recommend?
Yeah, there's a few more. Tracy's absolutely right. Any type of scarring, Daily Repair, fantastic for. But also, you can use any tyrosinase inhibitor. In this instance, I would probably use Diamond Bright because it also has stem cells in there, so that will help with that tissue regeneration. And they can use it morning and night. So I would do your Diamond Bright first on the area, then I would go over it with Daily Repair Mega Moisture, and then I would finish with the Cell Protection Balm. That balm is going to be amazing for healing that skin faster and helping, again, to prevent that scarring from actually happening.
Great. The next one was, how are you able to identify if it's hormonal or not when it comes to hormonal acne? What a great question, because it isn't easy always to spot it. But anytime you see hormonal activity that's causing acne, you're going to see it along your jawline and a little bit up into your face, but it's mostly along the jawline. And again, you can't say to someone, oh, that looks like hormonal acne. You would never be able to say that in your treatment rooms. We're not licensed to diagnose people, but you can encourage them to seek help with their dermatologist or even their OBGYN.
You can't tell them that they have hormonal acne, but you can say typically breakouts along the jawline indicate a hormone imbalance, but that's something you should definitely go have checked out by your physician. So you just can't tell them that's what they have, but you can like give them suggestions and things, direct them to getting that tested or more information for that. Corinne actually had a really great thing to do with the scarring question that we had previously, and she said that V-beam laser is also a really good option for scarring after surgery, if that is a route someone wants to look into.
Fantastic. I think we've got most of these covered. Do you see any others that are open that you would like to answer?
So there was one question that I thought was really, really good, and it said, are there areas of the face that are harder to treat for pigmentation than others? And yes, this is a really great question, and it has to do with that. More melasma is going to be the hardest hyperpigmentation to care for. And typically the hardest area to actually care for it is going to be on the forehead. And that's because your forehead is generally the part of the face that sticks out the most. And so it gets the direct contact with the sunlight. Also, if you get really hot, like if your body temperature rises, your head is one of the hottest areas of the body. So like your forehead generally is one of the hardest areas to care for that pigment, just because it gets exposed to more UV rays, and then a lot of heat gets carried up in the crown of the head. And so you can still care for it the same way that you would anywhere else on the face, but generally the forehead is the most stubborn area for that pigment. And then next I would say is the upper lip. That's the next hardest spot.
Okay. Are there any other questions that we've seen?
We just got asked, is the bleaching fluid safe to use on the body? And the answer is yes. You can use it anywhere on the body. It's safe to use anywhere. And in fact, we actually have an intimate lightening protocol, if anyone's interested in that we do use it on the body. So you can use any of the tyrosinase inhibitors. The thing with tyrosinase inhibitors, I know it can be a little bit confusing because we say like this one's really strong or this one's really active. They aren't active in the sense that they're spicy, tingly, they're not going to exfoliate the skin. We're more so talking about the strength. So you're gonna have stronger tyrosinase inhibitors that are really gonna lighten pigment fast. And then you have some that aren't gonna be quite as fast, but are gonna be more gentle on the skin. And typically they're more, the weaker ones are more natural. So you're using more things like berries and things like that, rather than like hydroquinone, which is proven by the FDA to be a lightener. It's I think it's the only FDA approved ingredient to actually lighten hyperpigmentation in the eyes of the FDA. Now that doesn't mean that other tyrosinase inhibitors don't work, because we know that they do, right? But hydroquinone is the only one that's actually backed by the FDA.
Great. Okay, another question. Can you use the 5-berry facial for your first-time clients that are worried about hyperpigmentation? It depends on the client, because each client is different. We know that their skin is different. But if you feel like they are on a good pre-regimen where they've actually gotten their skin to the point that can handle a 5-berry, yes. And then I would just make sure that as you're putting it on, that you're weighting each layer, seeing how the skin reacts, and going from there. I certainly wouldn't just actively put on, 4 layers. I would make sure that you wait in between each layer to see how they react.
Yeah, Tracy's right. And 5-berry, it is a TCA, but it's not the strongest TCA. It's not meant to be a strong chemical pill. It's meant to really help lighten and brighten that pigmentation, but you're not going to be choosing the 5-berry if you want a lot of desquamation. It's more so you're wanting to help address that pigment. So it could be a first-time chemical pill for hyperpigmentation. Like Tracy said, if they're prepped, and I would only do 1 or 2 layers, no more than that.
There is a little tip that I want to make sure that I put out there for everybody, but a lot of times people are hesitant to buy the products after their chemical peel that they need for that healing. Oftentimes accounts will actually put together little kits for them and sell their chemical peels as a package deal. So it comes with a pre-treatments and then also post-treatments. So anytime you're getting your client ready for a chemical peel, make sure that they are on a good regimen to help get that skin ready. You want to get as much exfoliation going so that when you put the peel on, it actually penetrates to the layers that it's supposed to. You don't want to have to worry about it trying to get through all this dead skin first. That's really not going to be fair to your client. So making sure that they are on a good pre-regimen and then post-regimen. GlyMed Plus believes very strongly about moist wound healing. Make sure that you're getting your clients those healing products. We're stripping the skin at that point. So we want to make sure we're putting all of those wonderful ingredients back into the skin to make sure it's healing really well and optimally.
Yeah, Tracy, she's talking about these kits and we have them. And if you want to learn more, we actually have an IGTV on our Instagram. But I'm just going to show you. We have kits already made that make it really easy for you. You can purchase these, give them to your clients, or your clients can purchase them. This one's for pigmentation specifically, but we have a pre-procedural kit and a post-procedural kit. And both of those kits are good to use before chemical pills, microneedling, even laser. And then they're all good to, the post-care kit is good to use post any treatment as well. And so this kit is specifically for pigmentation. So if you have a client with hyperpigmentation and they are a little overwhelmed, they can actually just purchase the kit. It has about 8 to 10 products in here. It should last them about a month. And this is a really great introduction to start getting their skin lightened and brightened and in a healthier state. And then they can get the full size when they're ready.
Okay.
Let's see.
We do have an intimate lightening protocol that is available. So for those people that are wanting to treat some of the private areas of people, we do have a protocol that is actually out there for you.
You know, and I want to say really fast that intimate lightening protocol, any intimate lightening that you do is not a permanent fix. And the skin has a memory, and we know that with hyperpigmentation as well, that once you get the skin to a healthy, even tone state, it's all about maintenance. So you're trying to keep it there because the skin has a memory and it wants to misfire, it wants to make that pigment. So it's so important that you have open, honest conversations with your clients and letting them know that this isn't just a one and done treatment. They're going to have to be committed to using home care and then helping to keep it at that place because it's not a permanent fix.
And really any hyperpigmentation that you're dealing with isn't a permanent fix. It's not just in those areas. It has to be maintained. Once you get them to the point where you feel like their hyperpigmentation has been treated very well, if they are not consistently using home care products to maintain that pigmentation is going to come back. Your melanocyte that is causing that problem is actually damaged, and it will continue to cause that problem.
Corinne, can I ask a huge favor? Do you mind putting the link to our website, the kits, in the chat so anyone can click on that and go to our kit, essential kits, and see what we have? We have essential kits for every single skin condition and skin type. These are awesome for while our clients are at home and can't come in and get services from us. So these are a great way to have your clients take care of their skin during this time of self-isolation.
Right, I love that. I mean, get them into that 2 to 4 week pre-treatment regimen where they're actually getting ready for your chemical peel so that when they're done, when this is finished and over with, that we are right on it and they are ready for that chemical peel, right?
Yes, the kits, I don't think people know enough about our kits, and I know Corinne has a dedicated IG story for them because these are awesome, and honestly, they are a fabulous size. I don't know if anyone's had other kits in the past, but these are around 1 ounce. I mean, 1 ounce. Some of them are a little less depending on what it is, but on average, they're about 1 ounce. And so you're getting a ton of product in these kits, and so it's a really good value. And every single kit at GlyMed Plus comes with a pamphlet inside, and the pamphlet tells you more about each of the products that is in there. And then there's also regimens in here. So you have like your morning routine, and then you have an evening routine. So it's so easy and so simple for your clients to use this. And the best part is if they buy it off of your regen store, it looks like you're the one that's creating it and supplying it to them. So they're just going to think you're the most amazing esthetician in the world.
Well, I really do think we do have the most amazing estheticians in the world, don't you?
I do agree with that, yes. We have a great group. I say it all the time. I think our clients, our accounts at GlyMed are just some of the most genuine, creative, and fun group. We rarely have accounts that were like, oh my gosh. I think everyone, and it might just be our industry in general. We have such a nurturing industry where everyone just wants to help. And that's something you don't find every day.
And I think we're also really pleasantly surprised when we are doing our 4-day training at our corporate headquarters, how intelligent, how educated our clients are. So I love that you guys have come on today on this Q&A and asked your questions and really get some of these things out of the way. You understand them better. Continue to educate yourself during this downtime. Remember that education is hope. And so keep your education going. We have tons of webinars, blogs, protocols, regimens. If you've never tried some of our products, try them so that you can experience them and you have firsthand knowledge to give to your clients. So all of this downtime can actually be used really well. And we wish you all the best during this difficult time, but especially coming from Sarah and I, we really do appreciate you and want to continue providing you with this education. So reach out to us on either GlyMed Plus, is it GlyMed Plus _ Institute?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so GlyMed Plus _ Institute on Instagram. We also have a GlyMed Plus regular account that Corinne helps to manage. So any of these sources for education and material, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how much you're going to be able to learn during this downtime.
Totally biased, but we are hoping to drop some knowledge on all y'all. So
If we could just download it, that would be really, really fantastic.
no, that's what we should create, is a way to help retain all this information, right?
I know.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions, Sarah, that you saw come through, or are we good?
Someone asked, like, how do they find the protocol? If you just ask your rep, account manager, for the intimate, if you're specifically wanting the intimate protocol, just ask them and they'll send it over to you. So, all right,
Okay.
I think that's it.
There is more training on the live, let's see, IGTV tomorrow. So check that out. And then we will be back on Monday with a whole new topic. And lots of information on acne. So get ready for that.
Yep. All next week is acne. And then Corinne, if you want, do you want to just take like a few seconds and let everyone know what you're doing for education tomorrow on IGTV? Just like a quick plug. So if anyone's interested, they can go check it out.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't expecting that. I have my son sitting next to me playing with his Legos and everything.
Oh, I love it.
But tomorrow's topic is actually on glycolic. So we'll be talking about everything glycolic, about the products that we carry that utilize glycolic. And then every single week it's just a different topic. And I do them every Monday on stories.
Yes. Follow our Instagram if you're not already.
And this actual recording will be placed where, Sarah?
This will be up on our website. We'll have a link and we'll make sure to provide that through the GlyMed Plus _ Institute Instagram, and then also on the GlyMed Instagram. But it's going to be up on our website. It's part of our education content for April. So it also will be listed in at the end of the week. At the end of the week, we do an email, and so it will also be in that email. So
fantastic. Okay. Thanks you guys again for taking your time to be with us, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.